Hey everybody, this is Dust on Gaming with a quick rundown on our M19 Sendoff for Mono Red Wizards. This is a deck I've had the pleasure of playing at least in one league. This is a very fun deck, very similar to the Boros Burn list that I play in Modern. This list, for some reason, only had 12 cards on the sideboard, but I'm not really going to be playing a ton of things where sideboards are relevant. So this is a deck that popped up after M19 or Dominaria. I think M19 because of Viashino Pyromancer. This deck is designed to go under the black-red mid-range aggro decks that have kind of popped up. Also puts a lot of pressure into the control decks pretty quickly. Uses things like Shock, Lightning Strike, and Wizard's Lightning to pressure your opponent's life total. Also gets rid of problematic blockers. Uses things like Bomat Courier, Soulscar Mage, Gitu Lavamancer to get underneath your opponent. Holds up with our Shaker Kenra and Viashino Pyromancer. Also gets to play Goblin Chain Whirler and On-Crop Crasher. So a lot of pressure, a lot of damage. Flame of Kel to reload. 19 lands. Pretty simple. It's a burn deck. It beats face. Sideboard, Chandra's Defeats for the red mirror. Abrade for anything with vehicles primarily. Also can come in and only need spot removal. Fight with Fire pretty much against the mono white decks or the white base decks that might have Lyra. Hazoret when you need to hit harder. Chandra when you need more card advantage. Ether Sphere Harvester when you're racing situations. I don't know what the last three cards are, but I'm presuming some type of like Ether Sphere Harvesters, Chandra's Defeats, other burn spells or red aggressive spells that might slot in. Gonna get into playing some matches because we don't have a whole lot of time right now, but this is kind of our send-off for Mono Red Wizards. This is a deck that's losing quite a bit post-rotation here, so it's a deck that might come back in some form. You do still have Shock, Lightning Strike, and such, but you're losing like Bomat Courier, you're losing Soulscar Mage, so you're losing the early 1-drops. So the deck's going to struggle a little bit in the next format, if it exists in any form whatsoever. This hand's perfectly reasonable. Maybe one land too many than I like in my aggressive decks, but still within the range of stuff I keep, so especially on the play. So, it's a deck that I wish I would have played more. Obviously, I emphasize playing the control deck, but this is a deck that if I would have concentrated on standard more, that I probably would have played a lot more of. So, let's see if our opponent has like a Fatal Push. Legion's Landing. Okay, that's going to be a little bit interesting here. So, am I supposed to Pyromancer here, or am I supposed to Bomat Courier plus Shock? That is an interesting one. Bomat Courier, Shock this in. Just keep pressuring our opponent's life total, keep their blockers off the board. It's possible I should have gotten the Pyromancer down, but I do want to draw cards with Bomat Courier here. So, okay, opponent is tokens, not vampires. Important to note. Let's continue dumping our hand, triggering our Lavamancer. Opponent's down to 9 already, so we're getting close to being able to burn them out. This is one of the decks that'll be kind of going away here. Okay, opponent's taking Bontu's Last Reckoning is a bit of a beating. No reason to play out our land right now. Getting those cards off of the Bomat Courier would have been nice, but I still think we're going to be able to probably close out the game here. This is going to make it a little more difficult, but any burn spell off the top here will kill them. Yep. Okay. Gonna have to fire off this lightning strike just in case we draw a wizard's lightning, since we don't have a wizard right now. Drawing the land's unfortunate here. Still think we have another turn or two before they're able to start gaining life, though. Not sure what we want here. Maybe the Harvesters in this matchup to be able to fly over all their tokens. We're about at the point now where our creatures aren't going to be doing anything, so it's pretty much burn spells or Viashino Sandstalker here that's going to be the best thing we can do. Another land? Okay. Still not able to flip that Legion's landing, which is nice. So we still might have one or two more draw steps before they start gaining some life. Use their Evolving Wilds, trigger Revolt here. Alright. Fumigate may have actually basically put them out of range here. The fact that we're drawing 7 lands and our 19 land deck is a little bit rough. Yeah, the early Bontus really save their bacon a little bit. Sure. I mean, Chain Whirler at least puts us in range that Lightning Strike or, Chain Whirler at least puts us in range where Lightning Strike or Wizard's Lightning can finish them off. But it's not going to do any real damage here. Liliana. Interesting. Yeah, I guess it produces tokens, technically. Ah, good old Anointer Priest. So, this will be the last turn we have a chance to draw the kill here. Because then Anointer Priest is going to start giving them an arbitrarily large amount of life. That's game. Because they have Anointer Priest into the other stuff. Don't really know we have a lot sideboard in this matchup. Most of their stuff is enchantments. You really don't want to play a long game against them. I think I just submit the same 60. I mean, obviously Tokens is one of the decks that Goblin Chain Whirler and some of the other cards kind of held down. It's a deck that's had success at various points in time, but between Rampaging Frostodon and then Chain Whirler after Frostodon's banning, just didn't have enough tools to do well. Mouse is acting up weird. Start getting in with Lava Runner here. There's a Fatal Push to slow us down, which kind of sucks. You have Hidden Stockpile here. Anointer Priest, that one's annoying. It's possible I'm just supposed to get this Priest off the battlefield, but right now I just kind of want to set up getting a bigger board presence. Of course, we could be walking right into a Bontu's. Nope, another Anointer Priest. Okay. Yeah. I mean, I could Wizard's Lightning one of these guys down, attack, lose my board. Just feels like we're in a position where we're not winning, so I'm going to go ahead and move on to the next match. So one of the problems with this aggro deck is certain strategies just have the right cards to kind of counteract what your best draws, well, some of your better draws are. So, the deck was fun. I think in the league I played with it, I went 4-1, so wasn't the... It's definitely a deck that can be hated out, but the deck was fun when it was good. I only played it, I think, in like 5 or 6 matches in this standard format. I didn't play standard anywhere as near as much as I used to. So, alright, so Soulscar Mage, yeah, this hand's fine. Even on the draws, I think this hand's fine. Against goblins, or against zombies, I don't know. Might be a little bit rough against zombies. See if our opponent tries to race us, or if they try to be the control deck here. Alright. I mean, sure, if you're running that card main deck, obviously you don't like losing to red decks. attacks with Diagraph, I'm presuming here. Interesting. So they're not zombies? They're just like mono black aggro? Could have played on crop there, but it was just better to use Chain Whirler's ability to get it off the board. Whatever will you do, opponent? Alright. I think we would have been in more trouble if our opponent would have actually been on... would have been more trouble if our opponent would have been on Zombos than I think the deck they're on. Guess they could be preparing for post-rotation with this list. Alright, opponent scoops it up. So... just gonna presume they're aggro, bring in the Abrades, bring in the Harvesters. What do I even board out? Guess on the draw, the Bomat Couriers aren't quite as good. Don't really brawl with what our opponent's doing too well, so I'll try it like that. Maybe on the play I want the Bomat Couriers, but on the draw I probably don't. Still gives us a pretty good amount of creatures. Gives us a lot of answers to their creatures. So... deck's obviously a little bit slower than its modern counterpart. Burn spells aren't quite as good, but it's still pretty effective strategy. I've seen it kill, I believe, on turn 4 in Standard before. Usually a turn 5, turn 5.5 deck, but still pretty brutal for a Standard format that's this kind of mid-rangey and power-based. But, one nice thing about these decks is your matches generally go pretty quick. So I was able to get like 2 or 3 matches in here, even though I only had a limited amount of time to stream tonight. This hand's a bit of a risk. We're on the draw. I think on the draw I'm inclined to keep this hand. Sure. Ding. Soulscar Mage and the Pyromancer are good answer. We could be in some trouble. But having Moment of Craving was a little... just battlefield, target opponent sacks a creature. Alright. So I guess they are not trying for post-rotation. I'm gonna play out Soulscar. What's up, Janshavik? Surprised you're not watching Sideboard stream. I don't think this is a zombies list though, is the problem. My opponent played like zombies but they also had like a bunch of non-zombies, so I'm not really sure what they were on. If they were on zombies, I think we would have been in a lot more trouble. It's possible I should have played the Pyromancer here, but I just want to get in damage while I can. Gotcha. I understand. I'm probably going to be playing more Arena once rotation happens and I start actually building for the thing. Building for standard formats. But I'm still going to generally stick to Magic Online. Yeah. If I had more time, I'd play Momir, but I barely have enough time to do a short stream tonight. Plus, I did a replay of a couple matches of Jeskai Miracles that I did earlier in the week. So our opponent took... I don't really know that I like our opponent's taking of... whatchamacallit there. Yeah, what's up, War Dog? Just laughing, guys are coming in a little bit later on. I've been streaming for like 20-some. But, I was just doing a quick stream of some Mono Red Wizards, because it was one of the decks that kind of popped up here in the format. You know, just kind of doing the standard review kind of thing. So, do I have time for one more match? It's Mono Red, I guess. Maybe? Play one more match with the deck. Then I gotta grab a bath and get to bed, because, you know, early AM work sucks. How are you doing? Arena is so unclear, I can't distinguish lands, swamps. Even Cesaris doing mistakes because it's hard. Never heard that problem with it, but I suppose it could be a problem. Playing against the same person, are we? Nope, definitely a different deck. Yeah, Arena is more... I don't know. I like Arena in some regards, I dislike it in others. So... not as it's currently constructed now. Yeah, it's basically the mono red burn deck of... Maybe, Jan, you'd honestly have to drop a list, because the blue steel lists that I had seen floating around weren't particularly competitive. They had their like moment in the sun for a week or two, and then people figured out the deck sucked and went from there. See what our opponent does here on end step. Vraska's Contempt or Glimmer? It's definitely a deck people should flesh out, but I don't think it's particularly good in the builds that showed up. So, let's see what our opponent does here. Contempt on the Bomat Courier. So, is 2 life and 2 random cards better than Flame of Keld and a land? I think the answer is yes. Especially when those cards are burn spells. Yeah, it's an engine. There's a lot of decks in Modern that are really sweet and really cool, but, like, they're either a turn cycle too slow or too vulnerable to disruption. I smell a Gearhulk. Yeah, I'm not sure we're beating this right now. Not a whole lot we could have done against that. I mean, I could have, like, not attacked and their opponent gets to Gearhulk, Flashback, Glimmer of Genius. So, I think our opponent's stabilized here. That's what you smell. Ha ha ha. It's about time for a shower anyway, but that's beside the point. Okay. Opponent is attacking. That's never a good sign. Alright. I mean, if our opponent has nothing, we might have a chance here. Yeah, OBS disconnected for a second, Jankovic, if you can get that. Let's see if I've got too many things going on here. Chandra even worth bringing in against them? Yeah, I'm not sure what's going on with the internet here. Usually internet doesn't having issues, but Seeing some dropped frame rates. A lot of short disconnects prior to that. Interesting. I'm not sure what's going on with the internet. I'm not having, like, the gameplay and stuff isn't having any issues. I don't know. Hard to say. But I only have this. I'm only finishing up this match and then calling it a night anyway, so maybe we just board out a couple of shocks for the Chandras. Doesn't feel like that's a card that really matters here. Pretty easy mulligan. Sounds alright. So, Crasher to the bottom for now. It's possible I should have gotten Gitu Runner out because it doesn't have haste, but getting a pile of cards under the Bomat Courier is pretty nice too. Presuming they don't have a Fatal Push or something here. Okay, Island does definitely not represent Fatal Push. opponent cycled a Censor. Not sure why Censor's even in your deck, but thought we were all past the point of playing Censor. If you have a Moment of Craving, I suspect it's going to be aimed at our... Yep, cast down. Yeah, that's what I said. Censor hasn't been relevant in a good amount of time here. If our opponent has a Bontus or a some type of sweeper, yeah, I would definitely agree with that point, Janshevik. It's possible they're playing both though, considering they look like they're just straight blue-black. There's no doesn't even look like there's a white splash for Teferi or anything. They have Yehennies, they have Yehennies. I mean, I'm guessing that's what they're setting up for here. We get to drop them to 4, and if we draw a land, then Chandra will be pretty decent. They might have like a Vraska's Contempt here. They have Contempt, are they dead? Oh, they have a push, okay. Basically, at any point in time, if they tap out here, they're pretty much dead. Vraska's Contempt. Oh, what a sly devil you are. This is how this deck has won so many matches against Control this standard season. I still think I'd rather have Chandra over Shocks. Though with 19 lands, it is a bit Play with Fire, they don't have the Threat of Lyra. Hazaret just dies to Vraska's Contempt pretty much for no value. Different strategies. I think Mono Red Wizards has a better game 1 against Control, because it can get underneath the Control decks, whereas Black Red Control can pretty easily answer game 1. This is one of those hands that if we draw a second and third land, it's insane. If we don't draw it, it's going to be a pretty miserable game. But I don't really think you can afford to go down too many cards against a Control deck. Got one more shot to draw a land. We're going to get Censored, or, yep, Essence Scatter. Alright. Not the best trade for them, but given our hand, it's pretty reasonable. Especially if they keep hitting land drops. Yep. Alright, we hit a land drop. That's cool. Not sure what's firing up Jared at this point. It's the collie that loves to bark way too bloody much. Doing this because if our Soulscar Mage dies, we have to pay 3 mana to cast those. Otherwise, I'd just do the more mana-efficient play of Lightning Strike there. So, presuming this is going to get Vraska's while we're tapped out. Okay, or not. That's cool. play an Earthshaker. Basically, I didn't want to play into counter spells. I might have missed some points of damage, but them tapping to cycle that vetted pools meant there was an opening where their counter spells were down. And the 1 damage is not worth running one of my spells into. Yeah, this is the kind of stuff that's just difficult to beat in the post-board games. The blue-black deck wants to beat aggro. They can beat aggro with Essence Extraction and Moment of Craving. I'm probably looking for a Vraska's Contempt here. Wow. That's a lot of Chain Whirlers. Glimmer of Genius. Let them scry. Before we lightning strike them. I smell a Gear Hulk. Maybe not. Alright. Okay. Possible our opponent doesn't have a Gear Hulk here? There is no Braids in the main deck. It might have been worth bringing them in, but I think I'd rather have my damage than getting rid of their Gear Hulk. Because the spells the Gear Hulk flashes back is usually the bigger issue more than the Gear Hulk itself. Another Glimmer, sure. But I'm seeing a lot of cards. So they're at 3. There's a good bit of cards that killed them. Okay. Flame of Keld, huh? Yeah, I mean, we gotta jam these Chain Whirlers, although they're probably gonna get countered. Sure. Huh. Maybe. Presuming any of them resolve and don't immediately die. Excuse me. Excuse me. Definitely a close game, but they're getting close to stabilizing here. Mm-hmm. So I haven't missed a land drop yet. Yeah, it's one of the few things I was noticing here. They're gonna main phase Scarab God or main phase... Alright. I mean... I could still have a counterspell here. Alright. Looks like they might be out of counterspells. The question becomes, are they out of life gain spells? Why did they... You allowed Chain Whirler into play, but you counter the Bomat Courier. Okay. Did they cycle to Fetid Pool? Alright. Alright. I mean, we're not in great shape, but we might be able to kill them with, Alright, sure. Okay. Sure. Opponent's probably going to have to bring back our Shaker Kenner this turn. They've had the answer just about every turn. Oh, they're bringing back the Chain Whirler. Interesting. See what they do with their scries here. One card on top, one card on bottom. I think that pretty much closes up the game here. Let's see if they're... Alright, so they're not dumb enough to attack with Scarab God. The attack with Scarab... Ooh. Ooh. We draw a land. They are dead. Huh. We draw a land. They are dead. Wizard's Lightning. How disappointing. Yep. I mean, we had an out there. If we drew a land, they were dead. Was a little risky on our opponent's part there. Should have gotten this Kenner out of our graveyard, but they had the cards. So yeah, that's pretty much Mono Red Wizards in a nutshell. Much like Burn in Modern, sometimes you get there with enough pressure and burn. Sometimes your opponent has enough cards to mix up and stop you. I mean, obviously the deck isn't quite as efficient, and we had a little bit of a clunker there in Game 3. Maybe I should have mulliganed to be a little more aggressive, but we did have a lot of heavy hitters, and they needed pretty much every card they had, and we still, if we top decked a land, they were dead there. So, I mean, that was about all I could hope for there. So, 3 matches, end up going 2-1? No, 1-2. We lost to tokens, and then we lost to blue-black control. Beat mono-black aggro. Saw the best of the deck, saw the worst of the deck. Saw the cards in the format that are good against the deck. A blue-black deck that wants to beat. Yeah, our opponent made the mistake that opened that draw up though too. So, it happens. Yeah, they had Bontus into Fumigate game 1, and then a bunch of life gain, and then game 3 they got down. Sorry, either game 2 or game 3 they got down a bunch of Anointer Priests and just kind of clean house. So, alright, that was the stream for tonight. I want to thank everybody for hanging out. Sorry for the internet issues. Hopefully they've kind of stabilized themselves a little bit now. Some reason it's dropping frames like crazy, which is kind of insane for the computer. But, not sure what's causing the issues per se. But, thanks everyone for hanging out. This has been Dusk for Dusted on Gaming. Hope everyone has a good evening.